Money is a follower, not a leader. It will chase only those who know where they are going, who refuse to be distracted, and who act with unwavering discipline. The secret isn't in luck, it's in mastery over your own mind. Your future is shaped not by the winds of chance, but by the choices you make today. Vision tells you where to go, discipline keeps you walking, and focus ensures you don't get lost in the noise. The millionaire is not the one with the highest paycheck, but the one who masters these three forces in silence while the world chases distraction. Wealth doesn't begin in your wallet, it begins in your imagination. Before there is the house, the car, the business, or the bank account, there must first be a picture in your mind so clear that it almost feels real. The poor wait to see it before they believe it. The rich believe it until they see it. That's the secret. Everything you can touch began as a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the lights in this room, the city you live in. All of it was first born in someone's imagination. Vision, my friends, is the seed of every form of wealth that has ever existed. I remember the early years of my life when I was broke, not just financially, but mentally. I was working hard, but with no direction. I was busy, but I wasn't going anywhere. That's what happens when you don't have a vision. You mistake movement for progress. One day my mentor told me, you can't hit a target you can't see. That day I realized that wealth isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you design. He said, if you don't design your own life plan, you'll fall into someone else's, and guess what they have planned for you? Not much. That line struck me so deep I decided I'd never live by accident again. So I sat down and began to imagine. Not in vague terms, but with precision. I asked myself, what do I want my life to look like 5 years from now? 10 years? I visualized the home I'd live in, the kind of work I'd do, the kind of people I'd spend time with, and most importantly, the kind of person I'd have to become to deserve that life. That's the key. Vision isn't about what you'll have, it's about who you'll become. Because without transformation, no vision survives. You must make it vivid. Write it down. Describe it so clearly that you can see it in your mind, even when your eyes are closed. Your vision must be so alive that it wakes you up in the morning and keeps you up at night. Every millionaire I've ever known began with this discipline. The discipline of seeing what does not yet exist and believing in it long enough to make it real. Now, don't let your vision collect dust. Review it, refine it, adjust it as you grow. Life changes, and your direction may too, but never let your sense of purpose fade. Because when the days get hard, it's not motivation that will keep you moving, it's vision. Vision gives pain a purpose and struggle a direction. So if you're starting from nothing, don't worry. You may not have the resources yet, but you can have the picture, and that's where every fortune begins. Hold that picture long enough, and one day, you'll step right into it. Discipline, that's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has goals. But the truth is, very few ever cross that bridge. Why? Because discipline is the price success demands, and most people are unwilling to pay it daily. Talent is a gift, luck is temporary, but discipline, that's a choice. Every day, every hour, you either strengthen it or you weaken it. I've met brilliant people who never got anywhere. They had big ideas, good hearts, and all the potential in the world. But potential without discipline is like a seed left in the packet, it never grows. On the other hand, I've met ordinary men and women who built extraordinary lives simply because they mastered one simple rule: they did what needed to be done, even when they didn't feel like it. Feelings are fleeting, discipline is permanent. I remember a season in my life when I had to face this lesson the hard way. I wanted wealth, freedom, and influence. But I wasn't willing to do the consistent, often boring work that builds them. My mentor once told me, "You can't hire someone else to do your push-ups for you." And that line changed everything. Discipline, like push-ups, is personal. You can't outsource it. You can't fake it. You must earn it, one consistent act at a time. So I began to structure my days. I started small, a morning routine that included reading, reflection, and reviewing my goals. Then I built an evening routine, gratitude, journaling, and planning the next day. Soon, those simple acts became habits, and those habits became results. The truth is, success doesn't show up suddenly, it sneaks up quietly through consistent effort. You don't become successful overnight, you become successful over time, and then one day the world notices. The same applies to money. Discipline in finances is what separates those who wish for wealth from those who build it. Automate your savings and investments so that your future is funded before your lifestyle. The moment you make your habits automatic, you remove emotion from the equation, and that's when progress becomes inevitable. Most people let their moods dictate their moves. The wealthy let their disciplines dictate their direction. Keep a journal, not just to record your plans, but to measure your discipline. Write down what you promised yourself. Then track whether you followed through. If you fail one day, don't quit. Start again tomorrow. That's how character is built. Discipline may seem restrictive at first, but it's the foundation of freedom. Without it, you drift. With it, you direct. Every dream worth having demands consistency, and every consistent act compounds into something extraordinary. So remember this: discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the daily proof that you're serious about your vision. Master discipline, and there's nothing you can't achieve. Focus. That's one of the rarest currencies in today's world. Most people are not broke because they lack time. They're broke because they waste it. They confuse activity with productivity, motion with progress. You see, being busy is easy. Anyone can fill a day with tasks. But building wealth, building success, that requires clarity. The difference between the average and the exceptional is this: the average man works hard, the wealthy man works on the right things. I learned early on that not all efforts pay the same dividends. You can spend an entire day answering emails, making calls, or running errands, and end up no closer to your dream than when you woke up. Why? Because most of that energy is spent maintaining, not multiplying. Wealth doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently and intentionally. High-value activities are those that move you towards your vision, even if the progress seems small at first. I remember when I started in business, I was always busy. Every hour, something demanded my attention. But one day my mentor asked, "Are you just active or are you effective?" That question struck me deep. I realized I was doing 100 things, but none of them truly mattered. So, I learned to identify the few actions that made the biggest difference: the calls that closed deals, the meetings that built partnerships, the study that sharpened my skill. Once I focused on those, everything changed. Each morning, I began to write down 3 things, just 3, that would move my life and business forward that day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. If I finished those, I considered the day a success. That small practice helped me build companies, write books, and mentor thousands. It taught me that productivity is not about getting more done, it's about getting the right things done. Now, this requires a certain discipline of elimination. You must learn to say no to distractions, to gossip, to unnecessary commitments. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. Don't spend your best hours scrolling through other people's lives. while neglecting to build your own. Protect your focus like you would protect your wallet, because both determine your wealth. Delegation is another secret. There are tasks that someone else can do for $10 an hour, and you, my friend, must focus on the tasks worth $1,000 an hour. Free yourself from low-value work so you can think, plan, and create, because that's where wealth begins, in thinking, planning, and creating. Focus sharpens your time, and time is life. A scattered mind never builds a strong fortune. Learn to narrow your attention on what truly multiplies your value, your skills, your relationships, your results. When you learn to focus on the vital few instead of the trivial many, success becomes inevitable. Remember this, a laser can cut through steel, but only because it's concentrated light. The same principle applies to you. Your energy, your talent, your time, concentrate them, and you'll create power. Focus deeply, and you'll move mountains. Time, the one resource we all receive in equal measure, yet the one most people squander without a thought. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, old or young, every person gets 24 hours in a day. The difference between wealth and struggle, between freedom and frustration, lies in how you use those hours. Time is more valuable than money because money lost can be earned again, but once an hour slips away, it's gone forever. The tragedy is that most people spend their days as if they'll live forever, trading their precious hours for trivial pleasures or meaningless distractions. When I was young, I worked long hours but achieved very little. I mistook activity for accomplishment. I was busy, but not productive. My mentor once told me, if you don't respect your own time, no one else will. That hit me like a lightning bolt. I realized that wealth is not earned in the hours you spend working. It's earned in the hours you spend working wisely. From that day on, I started treating time like money, something to invest, not to waste. I began planning my days with intention, setting aside specific hours for creation, study, and reflection. You see, time management is not about filling your schedule, it's about designing your schedule. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to whatever the day throws at them. The wealthy live by design, not by default. They plan their days in advance, blocking time for the things that truly matter. They treat their mornings like gold, because that's when the mind is sharpest and creativity flows best. If you don't run your day will run you. I used to sit down every night and plan the next day, hour by hour. I'd mark my priorities, health, learning, business, relationships. And I didn't just make the plan, I guarded it. When distractions came knocking, I didn't answer. When someone wanted my time, I asked myself, will this move me closer to my goals or further away? That single question helped me protect my progress. Here's what I've learned. If you don't make time for your dreams, your schedule will be filled by someone else's. Your time will always find a way to be used. The key is to ensure it's used for the right purpose. Track your hours for 1 week. You'll be shocked to see how much of your life leaks away in meaningless activity, television, idle talk, endless scrolling. Those leaks are where your wealth disappears. Plug them, and you'll find more time to create, to learn, to build. I also began using focus periods, blocks of time where I shut off everything. No calls, no notifications, no interruptions. Just me and the task that mattered most. In those focused hours, I achieved more than most people did in days. It wasn't about working longer, it was about working deeper. Remember this, time is the soil in which wealth grows. Treat it carelessly, and you'll harvest little. Treat it wisely, and it will multiply your rewards. The secret is simple. Manage your hours, and your life will manage itself, because the person who controls their time controls their destiny. When I was a young man, I earned a little money and spent it just as quickly. I told myself when I start earning more, I'll start saving and investing, but the truth is, if you can't manage a little, you'll never manage a lot. Wealth doesn't begin when you have more money. It begins when you start respecting the money you already have. Just like people, if money sits idle, it becomes lazy. But if you give it a job, a mission, it grows, multiplies, and eventually starts working harder for you than you ever could for it. The power of investing isn't just in the amount, it's in the time. The earlier you start, the stronger your ally called compound interest becomes. Compounding is the quiet miracle that turns pennies into fortunes, but it only works for those who begin now, not later. The poor wait for the perfect time to invest, but the rich understand that the perfect time is today. Think of your money as an army of little workers. Every rupee or dollar you save is a soldier that can go out into the world and bring back reinforcements. But if you spend your soldiers on fleeting pleasures, you'll have no army left when it's time to win the war of wealth. I remember one year I decided to treat every bit of income like seed, some for today's consumption, but the rest to plant for tomorrow. I started small, investing in a few opportunities, reinvesting the profits instead of spending them. Over time, I began to see something remarkable. My money was earning money. And then that money was earning money too. It was as if my wealth had developed a life of its own. That's the beauty of compounding. It rewards patience and punishes procrastination. But investing is not just about starting early. It's about starting wisely. You must learn before you earn. Don't hand your money to every passing scheme or every voice that promises quick riches. The goal is not to gamble, it's to grow. Study the fundamentals, how businesses work, how markets move, how risk behaves. Knowledge is your best investment because it protects every other one. Diversify your approach. Have some in safe places, some in growth, and a little in adventure. Balance is the art of staying rich once you become rich. Reinvest your gains. Don't celebrate your first victory with unnecessary spending. Celebrate by building your next opportunity. Let your profits feed your next investment. The moment you make money work for you, you start to buy freedom, not things. Because freedom, the ability to choose how you live, where you live, and what you do, is the ultimate dividend of wealth. The secret is simple. Don't wait to start, and don't stop once you do. Start small, but start smart. Let every rupee you earn become a worker in your financial army. One day, that army will march on your behalf, while you sleep, while you rest, while you live. That's when you'll realize true wealth isn't made by working harder, but by letting your money do the heavy lifting. When things go wrong, and they will, that's not a signal to quit. It's an invitation to learn. Most people fear failure, but failure is not your enemy. Failure is a mirror. It shows you what you didn't see, what you ignored, and what you still need to learn. The difference between those who stay poor and those who become rich isn't that one group never fails, it's that one group refuses to waste a failure. Every setback has a message hidden inside it, and if you're wise enough to look for it, that message can make you unstoppable. I remember one of my early business ventures. I was full of ambition, but short on experience. I made quick decisions without enough research, trusted the wrong people, and lost almost everything. For a time, I was bitter. I blamed the economy, bad timing, and even my luck. But one evening, I sat down with a notebook and wrote the question that changed my life. What did I learn? And the answers came. I learned to do due diligence. I learned that enthusiasm is not a substitute for wisdom. I learned that profit without a plan is only temporary. That one failure, painful as it was, became a university education I couldn't have bought. That's the mindset the wealthy adopt. They turn every loss into tuition. They pay the price once and then earn from it forever. But the poor often pay the same price again and again because they never pause to extract the lesson. Don't let your pain go to waste. Every disappointment can either destroy you or instruct you, and you get to decide which it will be. Here's what I recommend. Keep a failure journal. Write down what happened, why it happened, and what it taught you. It's not to dwell on the mistake, it's to build awareness. Success is built on correction, not perfection. The journal becomes your private map of wisdom, a record of lessons paid for in experience, not theory. And over time, you'll notice a pattern, you'll begin to make better decisions, faster recoveries, and smarter moves, because you're now learning forward, not backward. And don't keep those lessons to yourself. Share them with others, your team, your family, your friends. Teaching a lesson you've learned reinforces it in your own mind. It's one thing to reflect, it's another to express. The act of sharing transforms pain into purpose. You might just save someone else from walking into the same hole you once fell into. Lastly, every failure deserves a follow-up. After each setback, make a specific adjustment, even a small one. Change a habit, refine a strategy, or improve your preparation. That's how failure becomes feedback. Every great achiever has a long list of things that didn't work, but they didn't stop at didn't work. They asked, what now? So, the next time life knocks you down, don't curse the fall, study it. That stumble is your seminar. The lesson it hides may be the key to your next breakthrough. And remember, success grows in the soil of failure, but only if you till it, learn from it, and plant again. If you want to multiply your wealth, stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I help more people? You see, money is simply a reward for service rendered. It's the echo of value created. The person who solves the biggest problems earns the biggest rewards, not because they chase money, but because they chase meaning. When you make life better for others, life returns the favor with abundance. That's the quiet law of the marketplace. Value first, reward later. When I was young, I used to look at successful people and think they must have found a secret to making money. But over time, I discovered that the secret wasn't hidden, it was service. Every fortune I've ever studied, every millionaire I've ever met, built their wealth on one foundation: contribution. Someone found a way to make life simpler, faster, cheaper, healthier, or happier for others, and wealth followed naturally. The mistake most people make is trying to take before they give. But the marketplace isn't fooled. It only rewards those who deliver real value. Service is not just an act, it's a mindset. You can be broke and still serve. You can start with no resources, but still create value through effort, creativity, and empathy. Maybe you can't build a product yet, but you can offer your time, your attention, your skills, or your energy. I remember a young man who once told me, I don't have money to start a business. I said, you don't need money to start, you need to start by serving. He began by helping local shop owners organize their inventory for free, learning the business as he went. Within a year, he was managing multiple stores and getting paid for what he once gave freely. That's how wealth begins, with usefulness. The goal isn't to chase currency, it's to chase competence. When you become the kind of person people can rely on, respect, and refer, the income takes care of itself. So find the biggest problems in your world, the frustrations people complain about, the inefficiencies they endure, the pain points they ignore, and ask, what can I do to help? Then build something, a product, a service, or even a process that meets those needs. Test it, refine it, and listen to feedback. The marketplace is the greatest teacher you'll ever have. It tells you instantly what works and what doesn't. When people pay, they're voting with their trust. When they don't, they're teaching you what to fix. Every business, every career, every act of wealth creation is built on that exchange. Value for value, trust for service. So, let service become your strategy. Outgive, outthink, and outserve everyone around you, and soon you'll find that money is no longer your pursuit, it's your byproduct. The more people you help rise, the higher you'll rise. And remember, when your goal is to make others rich in value, life has a way of making you rich in return. Patience, that's the word very few want to hear. Yet it's the very thing that separates the dreamers from the achievers. You see, wealth doesn't arrive in a lightning strike. It grows like a tree. You plant, you water, you nurture, and then one day, almost quietly, it bears fruit. But most people never see the harvest because they quit in the season of waiting. They want results now, rewards now, comfort now. But success doesn't respond to impatience, it responds to endurance. When I was starting out, I remember being broke and frustrated. I wanted to change my circumstances overnight. I thought maybe there's a faster way, maybe there's a shortcut. But every shortcut I took cost me time, energy, or peace. Then I learned a profound truth. Success is built in layers, not leaps. You don't become wealthy in a moment, you become wealthy through moments. Small disciplines compounded over years. Patience isn't passive, it's the active faith that what you've planted will grow if you stay consistent. Look around. Everything great requires time. A child doesn't become an adult overnight. A tree doesn't bear fruit the day it's planted. And yet, we expect our careers, businesses, and investments to produce instant miracles. But the laws of nature and the laws of wealth are the same. Growth requires seasons. You must sow in one, tend in another, and harvest in the next. The impatient are always digging up their seeds to check if they've grown, and that's why their garden never blossoms. Patience, though, doesn't mean sitting still. It means staying steady. While you're waiting for results, keep working on yourself. Keep learning, refining, and improving. Because the person you become during the wait is the one capable of handling the success when it finally arrives. Too many people want the fruit but not the roots. They want the wealth but not the wisdom. But patience grows both. I've seen people sabotage their own success because they couldn't delay gratification. The moment they made a little money, they inflated their lifestyle. New car, new clothes, new debt. But real wealth builders delay those desires. They let their assets pay for their luxuries instead of their labor. They understand that patience is a strategy, not a weakness. The longer you can wait for a reward, the bigger the reward tends to be. So set long-term goals. Think in decades, not days. Review your progress every few months, not every few minutes. And when you achieve small wins along the way, celebrate them, because each is proof that the process is working. Remember, slow success builds character. Fast success builds ego. Be the one who plants deeply, waits wisely, and grows steadily, because in the end, patience doesn't delay success, it ensures that success lasts. And the man or woman who can master the wait will always outlast the one who's chasing the rush. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned came from a man who told me, if you want to change your financial future, change the order of your money. At first, I didn't understand what he meant. But then he explained, most people earn money, pay their bills, and if anything is left, they save or invest it. And I thought, well, isn't that normal? He smiled and said, "That's the problem. It's normal, but normal is broke." The wealthy, he said, do the opposite. They pay themselves first, not last. See, the philosophy is simple but powerful. Before you pay the landlord, before you pay the government, before you buy the new gadget, you pay the most important person in your financial life, you. Because if you don't value your future enough to set something aside for it, life will find a way to consume every dollar you make. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep and how wisely you grow it. I learned this the hard way. In my early years, every time I earned a little extra, it seemed to disappear. New clothes, dinners out, entertainment. I thought I was rewarding myself. But what I was really doing was stealing from my future. When I finally learned to pay myself first, to treat saving and investing like rent or taxes, not as optional, everything began to change. It wasn't the amount that mattered, it was the habit. Even if it was just $10, I made sure that $10 went into my future before a single penny went into anyone else's pocket. When you make that shift, you send a signal not just to your finances, but to your psychology. You begin to see yourself as a builder, not just a spender. You start to think like an investor, not just an employee. And the moment that happens, your money begins to obey a new master, you. Automation is key here. Don't depend on willpower. It's too emotional. Automate your wealth-building habits. Set your bank or app to move 10% or 20% of every paycheck into investments or savings before you ever see it. Pretend it doesn't exist. That money isn't gone, it's working. It's buying your freedom. And here's the magic. As your income grows, increase that percentage. If you can live comfortably on 80% now, you can live comfortably on 80% when you earn twice as much. The difference is, your future will be twice as secure. But if you let expenses rise with income, you'll always feel broke, no matter how much you make. So make this a rule. Never spend what remains after saving. Save what remains after spending. Pay yourself first, always. Because if you don't build your own financial house, you'll end up working forever to build someone else's. Wealth doesn't begin with more money. It begins with smarter priorities. When I first started out, I believed that a single paycheck was enough to carry me through life. I thought, if I just work harder, save more, and wait patiently, I'll eventually be secure. But the truth I learned the hard way is this: putting all your eggs in one basket leaves you vulnerable. Life is unpredictable. Jobs vanish, businesses falter, markets fluctuate. Relying solely on one source of income is like building a house on sand. The wealthy understand this truth intuitively. They don't just earn, they create multiple streams of income, so one setback never destroys them. The philosophy here is simple. Your income should have layers. Some of it comes from your labor, some from investments, some from intellectual property or creative efforts. The rich leverage not just money, but their skills, relationships, and knowledge to generate additional flows. You don't need a fortune to start. You start with what you have, and then you multiply it through ingenuity and persistence. The strategy is to diversify yourself first, before expecting diversification from money alone. Launch a side business that aligns with your talents, even if it begins small. Freelance, consult, or turn hobbies into revenue streams. Invest in something tangible: stocks, bonds, rental property, whatever you understand and can manage. Don't forget the power of intellectual property. Digital products, online courses, books, or royalties create income while you sleep. In my own life, I began with a single part-time teaching job. I used the knowledge and experience I gained there to write, speak, and mentor others. Each new effort wasn't just about making more money. It was about creating another channel for security, growth, and independence. Within a few years, I had multiple sources of income, some active, some passive, all compounding together. The beauty of this approach is resilience. When one stream falters, the others continue. You are never entirely dependent on luck or one employer. Practical steps are critical. Start small, with one additional income effort, and commit to it consistently. Every month, dedicate a portion of your time or resources to building it. Simultaneously, invest another portion of your income into assets that create passive cash flow. Explore products, courses, or services that allow you to earn repeatedly from the same effort. And remember, these efforts compound over time. Small, consistent actions become massive streams years down the line. Ultimately, building multiple streams of income is about freedom. Freedom from fear, dependency, and limitation. It's about taking control of your financial destiny, using what you have today to create the opportunities of tomorrow. Start now, begin small, multiply your efforts, and your income will follow. The first stream gets you going, the others secure your future. Wealth is never built on a single flow. When I speak of wealth, I do not mean simply the accumulation of money. I mean the ability to create value, solve problems, and expand opportunities. And the tool that allows you to do this most effectively is knowledge. Education is the great equalizer. A person with limited resources but a rich mind can multiply their efforts far beyond someone with wealth but little understanding. The philosophy is simple. The more you know, the more leverage you gain. Knowledge is a force multiplier. A single idea can generate streams of income, open doors, and create possibilities that hard work alone cannot achieve. The strategy is to make learning intentional, continuous, and practical. Don't learn passively, learn to implement. Focus on skills that directly increase your earning potential or ability to create value. Financial literacy, investing, communication, sales, entrepreneurship, and problem solving. Every book you read, every seminar you attend, every conversation you engage in should add to your capacity to act, not merely to think. The rich understand that knowledge without application is like a seed in a dry field. It contains potential, but it produces nothing until nourished with action. Practical steps begin with discipline. Dedicate at least 30 minutes each day to learning something that advances your wealth-building journey. Read books on business, investing, and personal development. Listen to lectures or tapes that expand your understanding of markets, human behavior, or leadership. But here's the critical part. Apply it immediately. Knowledge multiplied by action becomes results. If you learn a principle about investing, put it into practice in a small way. If you learn a communication technique, use it in your interactions today. Small, consistent application compounds over time into expertise, reputation, and wealth. I recall my early days when I barely had money to spare. I spent what little I could on books and courses instead of luxury or entertainment. I invested in myself, and within a few years, those investments yielded far greater returns than any temporary pleasure could have provided. That is the power of leveraging knowledge. One insight can lead to multiple opportunities, one connection can multiply your reach, and one disciplined application can generate wealth far beyond your initial resources. Ultimately, knowledge is not wealth by itself, it is the lever by which you move the world to create wealth. Commit to learning, commit to applying, and commit to multiplying your understanding every day. Your mind is the ultimate asset. Protect it, grow it, and use it to turn small beginnings into abundant outcomes. When it comes to building wealth, one of the most overlooked secrets is the company you keep. Your environment shapes your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately, your results. The philosophy is clear. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your closest circle dwells on excuses, fear, or delay, you will absorb those patterns unconsciously. Conversely, When you surround yourself with doers, people who take responsibility, act decisively, and pursue growth relentlessly, their mindset becomes contagious. Wealthy individuals understand that their associations can either multiply their potential or diminish it. The strategy is to intentionally design your social and professional circles to elevate your standards. Seek out mentors who have accomplished what you aspire to achieve. Find peers who challenge you, push you beyond your comfort zone, and share a commitment to constant improvement. Avoid spending time with those who complain, procrastinate, or sabotage opportunities. The rich don't isolate themselves to work harder alone. They leverage the wisdom, energy, and momentum of people around them to move faster and smarter. Your network is a form of capital, and investing in relationships with high-quality people produces returns that money alone cannot buy. Practical steps begin with identifying the people who influence your life most. Attend networking events, join mastermind groups, or participate in professional communities where growth-minded individuals gather. Look for opportunities to learn directly from those who have already walked the path you wish to take. Don't wait passively. Reach out to potential mentors and offer value in exchange for guidance. Real mentorship isn't about asking for favors, it's about creating mutually beneficial relationships built on trust, contribution, and respect. Equally important is limiting your exposure to negative or unmotivated people. This doesn't mean you abandon kindness or empathy, but you must protect your energy and focus. Negativity is contagious, and those who dwell in excuses can unconsciously erode your confidence and ambition. Surround yourself with individuals who act, innovate, and execute. People who inspire you to raise your own standards. Observe their habits, adopt their discipline, and mirror their commitment to results. I remember in my early days feeling stuck until I intentionally sought out mentors and a circle of achievers. The difference was profound. Ideas, habits, and confidence multiplied almost overnight. Being in the right circle gave me courage, clarity, and momentum that no amount of solitary effort could have produced. In the end, the people you choose to spend time with either lift you toward wealth or weigh you down. Choose carefully, invest in those relationships, and let the energy of doers accelerate your journey to financial and personal success. When it comes to wealth, earning is only the first step. Protecting what you have accumulated is equally critical. Many people focus entirely on making money but fail to realize that without protection, even great success can vanish overnight. The philosophy is simple. Unprotected wealth is temporary. Money left vulnerable to unforeseen events, illness, accidents, market downturns, or legal issues can disappear faster than it was earned. The difference between those who maintain wealth and those who lose it isn't in skill or luck alone. It's in foresight, planning, and prudence. Preservation is not fear, it's wisdom. The strategy for safeguarding your wealth is to think proactively, not reactively. Use insurance as a shield for health, life, and property, so that a single catastrophe does not derail your progress. Diversification is another essential tool. Spreading your investments across different asset types mitigates risk and reduces dependency on any one source of income. Financial planning provides the structure to ensure that your money continues working for you, even when life throws challenges your way. Wealth preservation is an act of responsibility, not only to yourself, but to those who depend on you. Practical steps begin with assessing your personal and financial exposure. Review your insurance coverage to ensure it aligns with your lifestyle and obligations. Health insurance protects your earning ability. Life insurance protects your family's future. Asset insurance protects your investments and property. Next, examine your portfolio. Don't place all your eggs in a single basket. A combination of equities, fixed income, real estate, and possibly business interests spreads risk and creates stability. Diversification does not eliminate risk entirely, but it cushions against catastrophic loss and ensures continuity of wealth-building efforts. Regular review is equally important. Life changes, markets fluctuate, and goals evolve. Schedule an annual review of your financial plan, check coverage, investment allocations, and cash flow. Make adjustments to maintain alignment with your vision. This habit prevents small oversights from becoming large setbacks. I recall early in my career learning the hard way that a single mistake or unprotected asset can undo years of effort. Over time, implementing protective measures became second nature, and the peace of mind it provided allowed me to take calculated risks confidently. Ultimately, wealth without protection is fragile. By safeguarding your money, assets, and future, you create a foundation that allows you to grow boldly and pursue greater opportunities. Preservation and growth are not separate goals, they are partners. Protect first, then build, and your wealth will have the durability to sustain both you and those you care about for generations to come. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this: wealth is not a matter of luck, inheritance, or the size of your paycheck. True wealth is the result of discipline, vision, and relentless focus. It begins in the mind, grows through consistent action, and is preserved by wisdom. Every millionaire you admire today started somewhere, often with nothing but a dream, a plan, and the willingness to act. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not circumstance. It is choice. Your choices today define your tomorrow. Will you spend without direction, or will you invest with purpose? Will you follow the crowd, or will you lead yourself towards your vision? The steps we discussed, paying yourself first, investing in knowledge, serving others, protecting your wealth, and focusing on high-value actions, are not complicated, but they require commitment. Wealth is earned one disciplined decision at a time, compounded over months and years. So I challenge you, start now. Take one action today that your future self will thank you for. Begin the journey, even from zero, and keep moving. Your millionaire future begins with the choices you make today.